All right, guys, so you're going to go into Procreate. You're going to create a new document. And you're going to go ahead and upload one of those pictures that I have on Schoology. Okay. And you should all know how to do that by now. You're going to insert a photo. I'm going to use this image, which is different than the one that you have, but for example's sake. And you're going to go ahead and place your image onto your Procreate document. Okay. Go ahead and select yourself a tool. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to want something that's good for making a straight line. I'm going to go ahead and use this pencil. And then select a color, something that's going to show up so you can really see it. I'm going to use red, I think. Okay. And then make sure that your brush is big enough and your opacity is turned up the whole way. All right, so the very first one says plumb lines. So go ahead and title, write that somewhere so I know what I'm looking at. And you can remember from the video, plumb lines is where you're making relationships with different features of the body by dropping a line down and seeing where that line might hit so that you can see relationships with other body parts. So for example, if I drop a line down from the very back of her head, it's going to hit right there where her shirt ends. Let's take a look at her chin. If I drop a line straight down from her chin, it's going to hit the front of her toe. And you got to be careful here with your lines, like trying to get them straight. Pretty straight there. Okay. And they don't all have to be vertical relationships. You can make horizontal relationships as well. Let's take a look at the back of her heel. I'll make that line a little straighter. I think that kind of lines up right there with the thumb. Let's see what the relationship is with her knee. Right there at the wrist. If we take a look up at her hand, let's see from that finger where we can make a relationship. Right there at the armpit. Right, so that's a good example of plumb lines, making relationships to where certain body parts are in line with other body parts. So I want you to do this with all 4 of the images, one for plumb lines, one for triangulation, one for finding relationships proportionately, and then one for finding negative shapes. And you can find how to do that within the Proco video, but this is just an example to show you what I'm looking for using Procreate. So I want to see one that's plumb line, and then a whole separate one using a different picture for triangulation, a whole separate picture with a whole separate document for finding connections, and then a whole separate document with a whole separate picture for negative shapes. And once you do all 4, I'm going to have you post those